Hi, it's Cammy Chris Gamara, and you're listening to the Iron Hour podcast.
It's Barry here, and welcome to the latest episode of the Iron Hour podcast. This is your Christmas special. It's Boxing Day. We hope you all had a fantastic Christmas. This podcast, there we go. Look at Marco with his Christmas tree. He loves it, doesn't he? He's Christmassy as shit. Awesome. I hope you had a fantastic Christmas, listeners. I hope it was great. I hope Santa brought you everything you wanted, and I hope you got to spend some good time with your family and friends, loved ones, lovers, whatever they may be. But today, who knows how it's going to go? The Iron travel down to Peterborough for the Boxing Day clash against Peterbrough Sports. It's at Lincoln Road. I like the name of the stadium, actually, Max, because obviously, as you know, Peterborough's is London Road, so I thought it was funny when I saw it was called Lincoln Road. What do you think of that one?
Well, there's specific geographical reasons for that. Peterborough United's ground is just south of the city centre, so it is, particularly back in the old days, linked up with the old A1, it was the old London Road. Whereas Peterborough Sports Ground is right in the north. It's right in the north of the city. It's a fair walk from the station, so it is again the old Lincoln Road. I think of Boston's old ground, York Street. But Boston's nowhere near York, so I'm less sure about that one. But yeah, I love a good, proper, non-sponsor's name for a ground that's got geographical connotations, like Bradford Park.
And that's why we've got the raw sex appeal on this podcast. Just Max Bell dropping lines like that. I think it gets everybody in the mood, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Look, you've opened with a question about geographical names, and you've gone to me. If you ask stupid questions, you win stupid prizes.
All I'm saying is, speaking of raw sexual appeal, I think now's probably the time to let all the fans know about our new calendar coming up for the new year.
Absolutely. Can I just say, Mr. February never looked so good, did he, Marco?
I tell you what, we get some sales.
You wouldn't believe where that Cupid's arrow went. You won't believe what kind of stellar.
January, Gareth. January, Gareth. February, Gareth. March, Gareth. April, Becky. May, Gareth. June, Gareth.
Sounds like Max has got a bit of a crush here. But one thing I will say is there's no ends to stuff that a can of Stella can cover.
So let's get into the football. It's a shorter episode today. We're a bit all over the place. We're still a little bit pissed off eggnog, aren't we, Marco?
I'm not yet, but in Boxing Day, I'll be in a very bad state while you guys are listening to this. So pray for me. I'm not actually going to the game. I've got family coming over. I will be purchasing it on DAZN.
I think it's DAZN. I've let it go a couple of times now, but I just can't let it go anymore. I'm sorry.
Why isn't it spelled DAZN?
I don't know.
Bloody utter woke nonsense. Anyway, but I'll be watching in the comfort of my living room with family. To be fair, we're going full Gareth. It'll be prawn sandwich brigade. We've got meat platters and antipastos. So it is really a true Italian Christmas. But no, I'd be lying if I said I was looking forward to it. I'm more looking forward to the antipastos. I'm not going to lie.
I thought when you said you were going full Gareth, I could just have visions of you in your front room getting your phone out going, so Melissa, what did you think of that?
What do you think? What do you think to 5 at back now?
Max, let's get straight into the Hereford review. 0-0. Shit game?
Yeah, I don't think the conditions helped. But it's the same for both sides. You've got to adapt to it. I thought they were probably slightly better or had slightly better spells in the second half. One of Ross Simmons' better games for us for a while. I thought, actually, we know he's got those kind of performances in him, and we do need those kind of performances from him. But I would have concerns there that it's 180 minutes. It's back-to-back 0-0s at home, and they've both fallen into a tie where at no point in either the Hereford or the Alfred games did I go, I think we're going to score here. And that's an issue for us because it's playing at concerns we've already got. And we're going to need to see change at home, or that issue is going to keep repeating itself, I think.
I mean, just sticking with Ross there, I think his name might get mentioned a little bit later in the show, Marco, but he's been instrumental for us, hasn't he?
Nicky was off Twitter. I know Stu said word for word, it's been a shining light, and I don't think he could have said it any better. He's literally been the best, but not of the bad bunch. He has been outstanding. And look, I don't think many Scunthorpe fans are going to be surprised at that. We knew Ross was great, but to have this sheer number of clean sheets, it's Andy Butler's wet dream, isn't it? It's a clean sheet starts. It's where you build from, and I do understand that. But the problem isn't at the back. It's having a little bit of attacking impetus. But no, from a goalkeeping point of view, I think Ross is really putting a stake down for one of the best keepers we've had in years. And I'm not saying that lightly. He really has been fantastic and got us out some holes.
Okay, are you surprised how much we've relied on him?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, especially with the point of playing five at the back, you'd think gives that keeper a little bit more protection. But I mean, look how busy it's been week in, week out. I think we're conceding a lot of chances because of the five at the back. There's more players in there to make those mistakes, whether that's a loose pass, a stray ball, a header that's gone to somebody pushing forward on us. And yeah, like I said, five at the back, I did think if you're Simmons and you're hearing Butler with formation, you're a big fan of three big burly defenders in front of your goal. But look, it's been the opposite, and I won't say it's been exploited, but when called upon, he's been fantastic. And barring a few errors, he really has been. But look, what keeper would have been National League North if he didn't have a mistake in him? No, really impressed with him. But like I said, I don't think anyone's surprised.
I thought Marco made a good point there in terms of the number of mistakes defensively which have happened in front of Fitzsimmons. That has made his life more difficult. The only slight point I would make is any good side still needs a good goalkeeper. I think about when we won League One in 06-07, like, that was a great Scunthorpe side, but Murphy was phenomenal that season. League One goalkeeper of the year by a country mile. So even if we were playing better, I still think we'd be reliant on Fitzsimmons to a certain extent, particularly actually his distribution. In terms of how good his kicking and his throwing is, he's got a real case for possibly being one of the best Scunthorpe keepers ever with the ball at his feet or in his hands. And, I think of how the game's gone, even in the National League North, that's become increasingly important, particularly actually for us on the counter. It's not just a case of our back five knocking it about at the back and the back of Simmons, and actually he's collected the free kick, he's collected the cross, he's collected the corner. I really like the fact that Fitzsimmons is inclined to go back. Let's have a go, because actually Marco again he makes a good point that you're a National League North player, you've got mistakes in you, and I know twice in one speech that I think we should be trying to push that of opposition defenders, and it has worked for us on the counter before with certain goals. And I think that's an underappreciated asset that Fitzsimmons has brought to us this season.
Two players that have kind of got a lot of praise this season have been the fullbacks. And when I say two players, I mean the positions. And I know people have had a lot of issues with playing five at the back at times, but I think the fullbacks have received a lot of praise this season so far, Max. On Saturday, possibly wasn't the same, was it? I think there's a lot of feeling amongst fans that Kelly and Barrows probably didn't have the best games for us.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, it is worth pointing out that we didn't play five at the back on Saturday. I think on balance it's probably a 4-2-3-1, Whitehall in the hole, Harris out wide. Look, when you're hitting sides of the break and you go forward in possession, sometimes it can be a little bit more fluid than that. But I would. That was the general structure and shape I would interpret it as. And I think unless you're really going for it, in some games where we have played forward and back, I think that's one of the ways Butler almost compensates for it, in that he tells the fullbacks, their default position is not to bomb forward.
Mm. You're not going to get inverted wing backs, are you?
No. But then equally, that's not our style of play in terms of not wanting that extra man in the middle of the park. What I would quite like in certain situations is overlapping. The absolute opposite of inverted wing backs. I don't want Philip Barham. I don't know, John Anarisa. Particularly when you look at that side, saying that we're playing 4-2-3-1. But actually, if Carlton is on the bench, where's the raw out-and-out width coming from? And I'm still not massively convinced on that front. It has been a weakness of us this season that we had in lots of games. We haven't really had much width. So if sides can press the space, defend narrow, defend the 18-yard box, and give us that, particularly at Glanford Park, actually, where the pitch really isn't big, it's easier to defend narrow for sides. And I thought Hereford did do that well in the moments we had when we were pushing forward. That's a question we've got to answer. And there's been 2 home games consecutively now where I'm not convinced we have answered it.
Marco, Max mentioned the formations there, and I thought we'd just explore that a little bit. He's described it as a 4-2-3-1. I think that's quite accurate. I think the surprise for a lot of people was, considering the 2 goals he got against Marine, was Danny Whitehall going back into that number 10 role. Do you see him there?
Yeah. Are we surprised? Are we surprised anymore with a player not playing in his position? Because I'm not.
Well, I'm only surprised he wasn't playing centre-back.
Yeah, look, I'm really not anymore.
He's a big lad. He's good in the air. Don't give him ideas.
Yeah, surprised, no. Happy, no. I think is a number 9. Beck took a lot of flack on Saturday. So lots of people, some people say he's the worst player ever, worst signing ever. But like Max said,
can I just 2 words? Joe Nuttall.
No, 2 more words. Ross Millen.
Yeah.
You to me, Matt Beck, like Max said, regarding a width, I don't think you're going to see the best out of Matt Beck until we get some width into that side with crosses. And until then, I don't think you're going to see the Matt Beck that we've signed that scored all these goals at this level all come from teams with wingers. And in this system, you are not getting the support up to him. It's all good. It's all well and good him hitting Simmons long balls from 60, 70 yards and just trying to get knockouts. It's really feeding off scraps. I don't think slating Matt Beck is the answer right now. I don't think he's had a fair crack. I don't think he's a bad player, but I do not think we're playing to his strengths. And Whitehall in the 10 is certainly not playing to his strengths.
Michael, that's interesting.
No, sorry, just quickly, Barry. I completely 100% agree with that. And I think our plan, we missed Roberts, and this might have been the question that you were about to ask, so sorry if it is. We missed Roberts, but then when we have the plan B, our plan B, when we've missed Roberts, is Whitehall in that 10 and Beck feeding off scraps. I don't see that as a viable tactical alternative. Fundamentally for me, when Roberts isn't in the side, you've either got to do 1 or 2 things for me. Either try and replicate it with Beeston. I think he's possibly the most likely to be able to pull off that attacking midfielder role in the hole, or go, fuck it, we're not going to be able to replicate a quality enough number 10. Let's go with. Let's get Beck and Whitehall through the middle. Let's get crosses into the box. Let's try and find an alternative solution. Roberts is a big miss, but when he's out the side, I'm consistently worried that the tactical decisions we make off the back of his absence makes his absence worse.
Like you were tapping in Morse code there for a bit. All I could hear was tap, tap, tap.
Sink the Bismarck. Sink the Bismarck.
The question I was going to ask Marco was, and you talked there about getting the ball up to Beck. Now, every time Butler's come out post-match in his interviews, he said, our strategy is not to do that. We don't want to put the ball long to Beck. We don't want to do that. That's not what we're about. That's not how we play. But every single game, that's what we're doing, right? We are literally getting the ball up. I haven't seen us use the width.
Look, I mean, for the fans that go into Glanford Park, we're not blind. Like, we can see what's happening.
I don't know. I am a bit.
do you know, we can see what's happening. And I mean, to say something different, it's like, I mean, we said the other day, are we being gaslighted? Are we playing this nice football that
gaslighted?
Yeah, are we playing this nice football that we're being told it's nice football. To me, it's not. To me, I mean, it's the first time in a long time, and I'm talking possibly Alan Nil era. Saturday for me was a chore. And this style of football, I know we might not mean to go long to Beck, but the fact that he is up there and this system, there is no options on the wings. The defender's mind goes to, right, if I'm hitting this, if an attacking pass can only go to Beck because there's no other options on. And to pass that through the midfield, that's another risk. Look, for not on form at the minute, They don't want to make those mistakes, but they're not passing it to Clunan to then build up. They are going to hit Beck, and then they've got themselves out of trouble. This formation is really, really suited to that big number 9, but we've got no width to support it. Like Max, there's no natural width. I know there's Carlton on the bench. Did I hear that Butler said Law was fit now?
It is. Well, we'll explore that a little bit later on, but it sounds like he's in and around.
I think New Year, we really need to see some wingers. And look, we've said this on the podcast before. It's nothing on Butler, whether he bites his tongue, but swallows his pride and plays wingers and we win. Look, it'll keep his job. Do you know what I mean? We need to win games. And we're just crying out. I mean, we haven't mentioned the pitch yet.
I was just
how's that got into that state when we don't play anyone there? Yeah. That's the most underused part of the pitch at Glanford Park. So I really don't understand.
You said if the pitch was fucked at centre half and centre forward, get that. What's happened out wide?
Yeah, that part of the pitch should be absolutely pristine, and it's the worst part. Like I said, I do feel sorry for people who listen to this because it's every week. I reckon we've said it from maybe third or fourth game of the season. Wingers. Just play wingers. And like I said, before he's maybe had the argument Law's not fit or whatever, but if Law is fit, Carlton's fit, and Roberts could possibly do a job as well, we have to try it. And I think that'll make Beck a better player, and I think it'll make Whitehall a better player. But I don't think he can play the two.
Max, I hear that, Marco, and I think you made some good points there. Max, I just want to talk about the pitch for a moment because Marco did bring it up there. I saw pictures before arrival at Glanford Park, and I thought it didn't look too bad on the pictures. Actually, I thought actually some of the initial pictures it didn't look too bad, and I was trying to explain it away on social media, in as much as it's quite common practice really to put sand down on pitches. In terms of when you get heavy rainfall, you put sand down, you soak up the water. At least it doesn't absolutely rip the pitch up, because the problem is with the turf, once you get rain into it and then you play on it when it's wet, it obviously gets cut up and then it turns into an absolute bog. So that's kind of what usually happens. The problem with laying sand is it's sand. Once it's down, it's down. It isn't coming up until you rip the pitch up. You can't hoover it up. So once you put that sand down, it's there. It's there for the season. And I do think they've gone quite early, really, Max, because it's not even winter, really, is it? I mean, think about the months we've got to come. We've still got the 2 coldest months of the year to come with heavy rainfall. So you'd surprised. I'm personally surprised that they've gone so early with the sand.
I am and I aren't. I think both of.
Sorry, just one more thing. But then when you get to Glanford Park and you see the pitch live, I thought it looked a lot worse actually than the pictures originally suggested. And when I seen it, I've got, that's really not good.
So there's a couple of bits here, isn't there? Both of those statements can be true simultaneously. You can say the pitch wasn't good, but you can also say, given the hand they're dealt in terms of that week, the best short-term response to that could be sand to try and prevent the situation getting worse. I would also add that we've played on plenty of worse pitches than that this season, and we will do, I'm sure, next season. I mean, that pitch sections of the pitch at Scarborough, I thought, in terms of how they looked from the corner of the away end, I thought looked borderline dangerous.
Yeah. Did you notice though that Scarborough, that obviously you can see the patches, you can see the different colour, and actually I think I saw a picture of snowfall on the pitch at Scarborough where you can still see the different colour of the grass under the snow. But at Scarborough, when the ball hits those patches, there seemed to be no deviation. I think that was a case of it looking a lot worse than it really was to play on.
Yes, very, very possible. I'm not a botanist. I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert on how the bounce.
Well, that was artificial grass.
Oh, well, what's the equivalent then? Comment below if it's something else, if it's plastic turf. Anyway, that issue notwithstanding, I think back to Farsley last season. Jesus Christ, I think the Farsley this season, when the local BBC sent that drone up to look at the pitch, and but I think it's a bit of it's not a secret that the pitch consistently this season hasn't been as good as people were hoping. It was relayed in the summer. That hasn't been as successful as I think everyone was hoping. That's not a controversial statement, but we can't use that as an excuse. We could be playing on 10-pin bowling, and if you're putting it up in the air, there's no grass in the air. So I don't want to make it to be a bigger issue than it in fact is at this moment.
Well, in the end, they'd actually done well to get the pitch ready for the season because, again, sometimes history gets rewritten. But you recall there was real concerns at the time, maybe not officially, but there was certainly the rumours flying around that the pitch might not be ready. I seem to think off the top of my head, did a pre-season friendly get cancelled or certainly moved?
Yeah, one definitely got cancelled.
So
I can't think who it was, but one definitely did get cancelled.
As Max says, there's always been the question mark over the pitch for this season. But yeah, you could be playing on a carpet. If you're hitting the ball in the air, it's a telescope you need, right?
Yeah. Look, Max hit the nail on the head. There's no grass in the sky. People don't want to hear it, but that's where the ball's spending most of the time, isn't it? Playing three big guys, 6 foot plus up top, to me, tells us exactly what we're planning to do. And let's be honest, that's not passing it through a minute. It's not prime Barcelona, is it? Which is not what we're asking for. Like just hear me, that is not what we are asking. I don't think that's what any Scunthorpe fan is asking for. But we are a big fish at this level. And what's more annoying is I think fans know that this team is capable of so much more than hitting Beck and hitting Harris and hitting Whitehall. To me, starting Whitehall in that 10 just says how we're going to play and our exact motivation, how we're going to play that game. Whereas I don't have any problem with 2 banks of 4, a 4-4-2. But again, I'm repeating myself, like non-stop. We have to have some width and we have to have some attacking impetus in these games that doesn't involve just hitting Mark Beck. And again, like I said, Mark Beck is not the reason we aren't winning games. It's not on him. You could have any striker in the world up there. He is not like how many clear chances Matt Beck missed? Not many, because he is not getting those chances to miss. It is just route one. I know people won't want to hear it, but it is. And nothing was started blaming the pitch, but it's definitely not the pitch. That's one thing for sure.
Max, just thinking about the Hereford game in particular, let's just have a little chat around that. KD from the London Bulls obviously came on our podcast last week as we previewed the Hereford game, and he was talking about how Hereford are quite a free-flowing team and like to play attractive football on the front foot. Is that what you saw on Saturday?
No, I thought they were a little bit. They were a better football inside than we were. We dragged them down to our level a bit, but I also think it's often a little bit more difficult to do that away from home, particularly in what was quite blustery conditions. I think what I want is a system that's effective. I don't actually really care in a certain way how we play. I think back to the Lincoln team in the mid-2000s on small budgets for all of their sins, they were effective. And over the last sort of 3 months, we have not been. And, for me, it's about the tactical setup. It's very, very easy for us to go long ball to Beck as a plan B when you press. Set up in a way that minimises that gives you an alternative option than your centre halves or your fullbacks panicking and playing 60-yard diagonal balls. It's easy for a 6'4" plumber to go, yeah, thank you very much, I've won the header. Now that either, I thought the setup away at Leamington that I actually thought was a viable option long term. You were playing 4-3-1-2, you've got Roberts in the hole, you had Brogan on the right of the 3 offering you some width, but then you had an actual Whitehall and Beck through the middle. That was a proper tactical setup. We got the best out of the players that they could play. Then you're thinking, right, we're missing Roberts. Either replicate that system with the best number 10, and that is not Danny Whitehall, or go to plan B and play with width. Hereford probably deserved to win, to be honest. If I was a Hereford fan coming out of that game, I'd be frustrated that they had nicked it. But it's not the worst point in the world for us when we didn't play that great. It just occurs and lost. It was a missed opportunity. If we'd won, all of a sudden you're going, well, we've taken 11 points in 5 games. We've caught up on, we're in the hunt here, and that lack of consistency stuck us again.
Marco, let's have a little bit of a look ahead then at the Peterborough Sports game today. We were last here 11 months ago. Got a reasonable win, 1-0 away from home. I think Cal Roberts scored quite early on. I think it was around about 16th, 17th minute.
I remember it well. He got injured not long after that, and we were just like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. So, Peterborough Sports, they're a little bit of an anomaly, really, because when I first heard this stat that they're unbeaten in the last 6, I thought, well, now this could make for an interesting game. Then when you read a little bit deeper and find out that 5 of those games have been a draw, and actually they've only managed 1 win in that time, I think you can probably guess how this is going to go, right?
Sounds like deja vu. Sounds like it stinks of a 0-0, doesn't it? But look, I think we're at the stage now where if we did go there and draw 0-0, as long as we beat them on the rematch of New Year's at Granville Park, would anyone really have an issue with that? I think that's where we're at the minute.
I need to tell you about the new format this season. It's Kings Lynn we play on New Year's.
Oh, of course, yeah. No, they've changed, haven't they? It used to be the same team, yeah. But
then we've got them both on Easter, I think, haven't we?
Yeah, but we can't be going to Peterborough. I know you say it stinks of a 0-0, but we cannot go there expecting a draw is a good result.
It stinks of a draw, right?
Of course it does. But what game doesn't for us at the minute? What game for us does not stink of 0-0 at the minute? Because they all do. And look, I know a lot of people are surprised on Saturday that it was 0-0, but what's going to change in a week? Nothing. The famous Peter Swan saying we had to lower our expectations.
They're in the fucking gutter at the minute, mate.
2 divisions later.
Yeah, look, I think we're pretty low at the minute. Confidence is low, not only with fans, but I think possibly in the team. I know they all proper showed us with that huddle last week. But look, let's hope that they are together and they go to Peter Sports and try to get that win.
I just think on the Marine one there, actually, in that by the end, I thought Marine tired, and they have been probably 2 of the games where the last half an hour I thought our superior fitness showed. We got Whitehall further forward, and we capitalised on defensive errors, and both of our goals against Marine came directly from defensive errors. So you've got to force them, and then you've got to capitalise. I wouldn't care if it was another poor 2-1 or 1-0 victory. Just get the 3 points, because I could actually see the Kingsland game being really difficult.
Yeah. Well, Max, they're currently in 15th place, but when you have a look at the home table, they're as low down as 18th. So there is an opportunity there to go and put on quite an impressive performance, and for Butler really to turn to the fans and say, we're unbeaten in 6 now. We're in good shape. We've had some good wins away from home. What's all the panic about, right?
Yeah, I know. If we go there, win 3-0, play good football, that's a completely legitimate response. We've taken 7 points from our last 3 away games in the league. Leamington, Darlington, Marine. We're in a point where at least in the last 6 to 8 weeks, the away form's doing the heavy lifting here.
And can I just say this as well, because I said it at the time. I stand by that Darlington performance and result was not horrific. It was acceptable. Like, I'm not getting carried away and say it was great. But
Marco's very. Any minute now he's going to start giving it the Italian handwave. He doesn't agree.
No,
you had to be there, Marco.
Darlington was bad. Well, I feel like you see it better on the TV, because what you was watching was not what I was watching. Honestly, and I mean, I wasn't there. And
to be fair, I did have frostbite. So
yeah, well, that doesn't surprise. It must affect your eyes or vision, because it was bad. It was bad. But look, it's National League North. There's a lot of leeway we don't. But like Max said, we got to Peterbrough Sports. Even we were 1-0, playing badly. Look, Butler can turn around. Unbeaten in 6, picked up form in away games, and we don't mind that. Like, Butler needs to get this out of his mind that people are against him. But obviously, you've got your minorities that are just set out Butler out now, and that won't change.
But you'll never change it. We win every game now to the end of the season.
And look, but I feel like I'm on the fence here. Like, I would love nothing more than Butler to prove me wrong. I would love it, because of what he's done for the club. He's, as a person, is fantastic, but he cannot be taking these not fan. He cannot take everything personal and to heart.
We've said this, haven't we?
Yeah, and look,
we covered it quite.
There's nothing I would love more than him to turn around. Look, 6 games, this and that. We're second in the league, possibly, depending on the Kings Lynn result, beating Peterborough, Kings Lynn, and that'd be great. But like I said,
I guess the opportunity there would be because we're playing on New Year's Eve rather than New Year's Day, and the majority of fixtures in our division are happening on New Year's Day. I guess there's an opportunity there for us to get ahead of the game and say, like there's still a world. I was looking at this earlier, bizarre as this sounds. At turn of the year, we could actually be top of the league. As crazy as that sounds.
On New Year's Eve, if we're top of the league, when England in the Euros and that guy had a firework out of his ass.
I remember it well.
Me and Max will recreate that at Glanford Park.
With the pyro.
We
don't do pyros, kids.
Yeah, don't do it.
I've got an even better version of that. Are you working New Year's Eve now?
Me?
Yeah.
I will be very merry at Glanford Park.
Okay, I was going to say, so when post New Year's Eve, the next time you're flogging pizzas, if we're top of the table, can we have a pineapple special?
Nice.
I will put a pizza on a pineapple if we're top of the league. I don't even care. It's not happening. And look, again, it's just the same argument with Butler. I hope I'm wrong. Look, bring on the pineapple. I'm happy.
Right, before we move on to our hero idiot moment of the week, Max, I thought we'd have a look at an interview that came out of the club on Monday. It came out of Beauty Radio Humberside on Monday. 15-minute piece with Andy Butler and James Hogarth. The talking point I want to talk about was he didn't name any names, but he said there's quite a few players that might be struggling for the Peterborough game. Now, obviously, that might have changed over the last few days since that interview, but it sounded like with the flu, I think it is, that Carl Roberts has had, put in with a couple of other knocks that some players are picking up, and I think Luke Williams might be one. Now, Andy Butler was very careful not to mention names, and he did say, I'm not going to mention names, but you, I, and Marco, or every other fan can have a good guess at who these might be. And so, I don't think we're giving anything away here, but when you think about that, are you concerned with the players that might be missing today?
Yes, but also I think that if I were in Butler's shoes, I would be cautious in terms of selection. So obviously, flu, you've got an added complication in terms of if you have them around the building.
Get them away. But again, on Monday, Carl Roberts was in and around the squad. A fan reached out to me today to say that they're taking the child to the signing day and all the whatever was happening before then. And Carl Roberts was in and around the playing squad on Monday.
And now the child's got flu.
Was he coughing all over his autograph?
all over the pen.
Look, hopefully that's a good sign in terms of Carl Roberts, because I do think he's important, but we'll see. And also actually because of the relatively shorter, it's not a 7-day turnaround, Boxing Day to you've gone 21st to 20. You've got 3 games in 10 days.
Yeah.
And if I'm looking at the next 2 and thinking some of these 50-50, do I want to play them for the Peterborough Sports, risk they're out for the Kings Lynn, or guarantee that they're available for the Kings Lynn game? I can understand why Butler might err on the side of wanting them for Kings Lynn.
Well, it's 4 in 14, because remember the Brackley game on the 4th comes quite close.
Yeah.
Go on, Matt.
To me, this is like, I know we've mentioned it on previous pods, this is where we should be coming into our own. We know we've probably got the best squad in the league. We know we've got a lot more options than other teams have that. This is where we should be coming into our own. Look, we've got a bit of depth, like Max said. Which players are you picking for certain games? I'd maybe possibly got 50% with Roberts and 50% with Williams, depending on fitness. But look, Williams is playing him at 10.
Well, he's playing as a number 8, isn't he?
At the minute, well, he's not playing, is he? And I mean, let's not be honest, that's not a shock, is it? It is, as much as I don't want to say it, what we thought would happen with Williams is happening. We're not seeing enough of him, which is really frustrating. Obviously, it's not bad for the club. Well, it's bad for the club, but he is on a pay-as-you-play contract. We know that, so he'll be more frustrated than anyone.
They're on contract terms, yeah.
Yeah, but I really do want to see Williams on the pitch a little bit higher up. And like you said, it's good news with Roberts if he was in the building. to me, our second half of the season is depending on him.
Sorry, just one last thing. Just one more thing. Just one last thing, Max, before we get onto the hero idiot moment. Another thing that came out of the interview on Monday was Andy Butler talking about the fact that he wouldn't have the players in yesterday, wouldn't have them in on Christmas Day. And actually, I think that all they had to do was a 20-minute cardio, a 20-minute run or something before the game, which, is fair. Do you think that's to do with the level we're at? Like, do you think that's quite common practice? I mean, obviously the part-time teams, they wouldn't be in on Christmas Day. Or do you think that's Butler's kind of new age approach of arms around the players, we're a gentler, different squad now?
Look, from column A, look, from column B, I wouldn't hate either judgments. Even when clubs traditionally bring in players in on Christmas Day, very rarely are they doing like a 4-hour session on defensive shape.
Often you're just taking them away from the families, aren't you? Which is what's the point, right?
Yeah, and again, you might make a value judgment on that depending on what your game is on Boxing Day, how important it is. Have you got any outstanding tactical concerns? How local do the players live? Look, I genuinely, I've got no issue with making a judgment either way when you're in and around the squad on that basis. The proof will be in the pudding in terms of how do we tactically set up? Does it work? What players do we have available and unavailable? Yeah. And we're going to find that out at, whether or not that has worked at about 5 p.m. when we see, the full-time score.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to this game today. I mean, I'm taking all 3 lads and I'm going with my dad. So I love Boxing Day fixtures, right? You get that. It is the biggest fixture for me in terms of a guarantee time I can spend with my dad, because you're going to get to the football, you're going to have a day with the kids and your old man, and it is a special thing for me. I prefer it when we're at home, I'm not going to lie, but it's easier with her indoors, let me tell you that, rather than taking them to Peterborough, but it is what it is. Right,
look, I'd just like to say, I saw Marco's reaction when you went her indoors. Even Marco, captured by the woke feminist elites. Look at him wincing. Is Melissa in the background listening?
You want to hear what she calls me, mate?
Ironically, Melissa's upstairs cooking in the kitchen, which is that's not where she should be. There's none of that. It's just coincidental. But I will give her a big shout out because for our little prawn sandwich Boxing Day Scunthorpe fixture, she's doing us all our meat and antipasto. So we've got to be nice to her.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, hero idiot moment of the week. We're a bit of a shorter format this week, so we're each going to get a turn. So, hero of the week, I believe that's you, Max?
Yeah, I believe so. My hero of the week is Stu Maw. It's always worth giving a shout out to an all-round great guy who the club had previously had on the pitch, thanked publicly, and fundraised thousands of pounds, which individual fans have supported and come around. But none of that would have been possible without all the donkey work that he's put in. And yeah, honestly, he's one of the nicest people you could ever possibly meet. Big fan of Stu. Merry Christmas, and definitely my hero of the week.
Do you know, we talk about that fundraising that he's done. I think that figure's above £20,000 now, I think was the last I'd heard. But
amazing, absolutely amazing.
But the biggest thing for me is not just the money raised, but the fact that some of that money raised it's like a double win, because it's been used to buy tickets so the club get the money, but also families, less well-off families, get those tickets for free. So they're going and taking their kids to a game that they otherwise wouldn't have been able to. So it's like true altruism. It's not just opening the club.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the beauty of that is, it's no secret. I remember Ian Sharp, the first time round when he wanted to actually buy the club off Swan, said he couldn't always afford to actually come watch Scunthorpe all the time. And that's what really wanted him to come to games. So the fact that Stuart's giving other families and kids, young kids especially, a chance to actually come to the games. And look, when I'm 7, 8, 9 years old, these guys are my heroes. And it does go an incredibly wrong way. And I mean, look what Stu does. Look, we're not just saying this because of what's happened on social media in the last few days. It's no secret. Stu is an all-round good guy. And to the point where I am almost sick to death of him. posting on the Facebook group because you cannot get away from him. But that is just because he is so relentless and so consistent, and the money he's raised is second to none. And look, we're all behind Stuart. Whatever happens, keep it up.
And I like how Marco clarified that the players were his heroes when he was sort of like 7, 8, 9. Obviously, now he's grown up. He's got proper heroes like me and Barrett.
Yeah, well, can you tell them, Mark? I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you tell them the story you told me about Andy Butler the other day?
You want Andy Butler?
Oh, who was it? It was
Andy Crosby.
Oh, was it Crozzers? Yeah, sorry, Crozzers.
Yeah, it was Andy Crosby. So I went. It was at Christmas time actually. So I used to get a Scunthorpe kit for Christmas. That was my thing. And I mean, I was maybe 12, 13. So I got my Raynham steel kit. It was Carlotti, I remember. Shirt and shorts, and I couldn't not wear it as soon as I got it. So stripping off in my car, shorts on, shirts on, and my gran said, "Shall we go to the restaurant for some dinner?" And that was like a proper treat for me. So we went up to the Iron restaurant, and the players we'd just finished training, so we was all eating. Crosby was my favourite. I think mainly because I think he took a penalty, and he scored. Crosby was almost a favourite because he was just a bit of an hard bastard. So yeah, I was obviously, when you're that age, you do get a little bit nervous. So my gran says, "Look, if you don't go, I'll go and ask him for his autograph on his shirt." So my gran went across. I think I took it to fish and chips, and he not only signed my shirt, he then said he came over to our table and said, "Oh, he signed my shirt," and then took it around the whole team and said, "I'll go one better. I'll get all the team to sign a shirt." And met every single player. Yeah, and look, that goes such a long way, and it's so important that we don't lose that with the current players. The guys that we've got there now, to be fair, they are fantastic. I mean, for example, Whitehall, the whole team, they do go a long way, but that's so important. Like I said, with Stu raising his money, to give kids that chance of getting into the stadium and getting the opportunity to have that moment, seeing the heroes, it really does go a long way. So I know we're not doing points, but Max gets my point.
Yeah, and Stu. Stu always gets a point. So well done, Stu. Iron Hour podcast, mate, with you. Absolute legend at the club. So that was hero. Let's move on to idiot of the week. Is it my go?
It is your go.
Right, so my idiot of the week is the National League North selectors for their, what am I saying? Team of the week? What is it?
No,
Marco, tell me what I'm saying.
Half season. Yeah.
Look, this is all mine, yeah? The half season, team of the half season. Carl Roberts not included?
Carl Roberts was included.
Right. Let me reread my notes.
It's Ross Fitzsimmons. Ross Fitzsimmons is not in the team.
So, guys, I've just had a look at the team of the half season. No Ross Fitzsimmons. Those selectors are my idiots of the week. What's going on there, Marco?
It's absolutely mind-boggling. I mean, no disrespect to the keeper that actually is in there, because I don't know who he is. But look, Ross Fitzsimmons has got us out of jail a lot. I know we spoke about him earlier.
That was it.
Is it 14 clean sheets?
Yeah, it's a lot, isn't it?
I mean, come on. I don't know
who
is
the record? Is it 21, Max?
Pass, I suspect.
Our record, Murphy.
Oh, Iron Stats will know. I mean,
I'll tell you what, as well, big shout out to Iron Stats. I know Max retweeted something of theirs earlier.
That Marine one was bonkers.
Yeah.
That is fucking mad.
Really good stat.
Not only that, but the amount of research going into something like that, you're going to have to have gone, they're going to have to have gone through to check that every away game for 10 fucking years. But mate, that is a brilliant stat.
But yeah, I think Ross Fitzsimmons has been very hard done to by not being outside. But look, as long as he's in at the end of the season and there's a promotion to go with it, it's all forgotten.
The only thing I would say in the partial defence of the National League North selectors was that I think they're going to do like a cheeky little post where they've praised Roberts, but then go, "Oh, no Fitzsimmons."
Yeah.
And I think, did they use as justification that it was only meant to be one player per team? I'm sure I read that on Instagram.
Well,
which is a silly rule, because the team of the year last year it deserved to have 6 or 7 talented players in it.
Yeah. Just chuck it in. Joe Murphy, 0607, got 22 clean sheets. I remember reading at the time that was the record. So that would be something, wouldn't it? It's possible.
It's very possible.
But you would say likely at this point.
The way we're playing, it's going to come in 8 games. I I mean,
How many goals will we score in that time?
I think we'll easily get 2.
We'll score.
Trust me. Believe me.
The amount of corners Boyce is due one.
God.
Marco, what was your moment of the week?
I am going to seriously lower the tone here, but I cannot. And what's just happened in the next 5 minutes has just emphasised it. So,
what's just happened in the next 5 minutes?
I'm going to level you. I think Marco's come from the boozer.
Are you predicting the future on this podcast?
What's just happened? Sorry, in the last 5 minutes, he's been voted.
Just quick one. Mark, have you been to the pub today?
It's Christmas.
Hey.
He has been voted. He's been voted the player of the weekend. Also, through no fault of his own, Mussolini had a grandson, and he signed for Lazio a couple of years ago. Probably wasn't.
Look at Barra's face. Right, for anybody unaware, Mussolini was the fascist dictator of Italy.
What's happening?
From 1930 to 1943.
Am I being punked? Like, what is going on?
I mean, if anyone should know, it's the German. But yeah, look. So he had a grandson. The fact that he's still kept the surname Mussolini, playing for Lazio, obviously quite a far right team. He's now on loan at Juve Stabia. He scored yesterday, and
Sunday, yeah.
Sunday, sorry, and then Boxing Day. Innit? Happy Christmas. But yeah, so he scored the other day, and the whole stadium repeating Mussolini whilst holding their right arm in the air. To me, was absolutely bonkers, and just felt like, you know, that series like Black Mirror where just crazy stuff's happening. That's what it was like. It was, I'd say, like you've gone back in time is quite appropriate, because that's what it was like. And a real moment. Not all moments are good. But
that's definitely not.
Very strange. No, it was very, very strange. And yeah, that was my moment. Sorry,
Max, do you want to handle this, or do you want me to?
I was about to say, I like how we pivoted immediately from Scunthorpe United's record number of clean sheets to Italian geopolitics. Now, if that's a big Venn diagram, I'm all fucking for it. But look, you know, it was a moment. There's no doubt about that. It was a moment.
Yeah. If you got, obviously most of you guys love me on social media. I did retweet it. Definitely worth a watch. I mean, it's almost historic. It's crazy. And look, he'll score again. So it's coming.
Of that Venn diagram, I'd like to think Giorgio Chiellini's front and centre there, Max. Of that Venn diagram.
Again, so there's a bit more of it. You know, anybody who's ever seen like goals on the continent, you know, they do a thing where the stadium announcer will go first name, and then the whole ground goes surname. And look, if it's Scott McTominay scoring another banger for Napoli, fine. Who gives a hoot? But yeah, bit of an interesting one, that one in Serie B on Sunday.
To be fair, what's more weird is me and Alas were actually discussing this. Like, certain names haven't stuck. So obviously the obvious one being Adolf. But it's mad that he's kept his surname. Is that not one of them where you'd have possibly changed it? Or look, I don't know his beliefs.
What's going on, mate? Why are we talking about this on the Iron Hour podcast?
You get a bit of everything.
That is true. Truer words have never been spoken. It has to be said. Are we gonna wrap it up there?
I think so.
Should we pick a winner? I think the winner's the hero of the week, right? It's got to be Stu, hasn't it?
Well, it is Stu, but I hope it's us today. Let's bring a bit of cheer. And look, don't mind if we play nice. 3 points. That's all nice.
Up the Iron. Safe travels, Iron fans.